Turning any random monitor with digital input into a fully functional smart TV? This task is now easier than ever with this $50 smart TV stick running Google TV by Mecool. Let's inspect. Hi everybody, welcome, really nice to meet you. My name is Michael. What we do on the channel is to inspect fresh and cool tech, and I'm always in the search for the best value products. I believe today what we're testing belongs to this group. It's something coming from the company Mecool. It's called the KD5, and although you may think it's yet another flash drive or SSD, it's not. No, that's a mini PC. Think of it as a mini computer similar to an STB that you attach to your TV using this HDMI port, and it can immediately transform your TV or monitor into a smart one. Think of that as a 3-in-1 device which runs Google TV. I say 3-in-1 device because on one side you have a media player, you have Chromecast inbuilt, and Google Assistant. So that's quite fun, and we have to thoroughly test it so that we can check about all the advantages, but also all the disadvantages. Right now, there are a lot of similar devices. Smart TV sticks coming from Google, Xiaomi, Realme, Amazon, Roku, and many others. There also are the bigger STB-size Google TV mini PCs. Main difference is the operating system. With the Mecool KD5, we're running a certified Google TV OS with a bunch of embedded licenses so that you can enjoy a whole lot of streaming services in their purest form, and also to have an operating system certified and updated by Google, meaning that there won't be any hidden data analysis tools injected by the manufacturer. To unbox, it took me literally a couple of minutes. Mecool placed everything in this small and nicely looking box with a bunch of accessories and everything that you need in order to set it up. Some of the top highlights are stamped, and now there's the hope that finally Mecool have properly integrated a working Netflix app as opposed to some of the older devices that they have released. So that's the main unit. It hosts all the computing power and does most of the magic. A user guide, read it thoroughly. A remote, nice color, and good to see a bunch of dedicated buttons. Short HDMI cable in case the port on your monitor is hard to reach. A micro USB cable and a power adapter. Yeah, this definitely is looking great. I guess this year white is not the trendy color, but it will come back at some point eventually. I'm gonna show you the top use cases, but first, a good idea to find out how much of computing power and features we're counting on. The AM Logic S805 X2 SoC, featuring a quad-core Cortex-A35 processor, 1GB DDR4 memory, 8GB eMMC flash, dual-band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2, support for all the latest video codecs on a hardware level, and also HDR10, 10+, HLG. We have Google TV as operating system and also a nice and functional remote control. Looking into the whole picture, qualities here are in place. Unfortunately, it doesn't support resolution higher than 1080p. But if you're wondering whether it can play back 4K video files or it can be connected to 4K monitors and TVs, yes, of course, just everything is going to be downscaled to 1080p, which I don't think is a big issue because Netflix, for instance, they have different layers of the service, whereas you can pay for 1080p or pay more in order to watch in 4K resolution. Concerning the overall performance, as we mentioned, the processor inside is better, doesn't go easily into throttling, and from the fancy codecs, it's missing Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. We have HDR10+ and HLG, though, which is also similar or equivalent in terms of qualities. The thing that you're probably going to miss looking into the design is that we don't have any ports for peripherals, only HDMI and a micro USB, and that's for the power input. But you can buy a proprietary OTG solution from Mecool where, it plugs here and you get the micro USB port for power input, but also, that's a port for a USB drive. In case you want to copy quickly files, you can add a USB flash drive. When it comes to this kind of devices, I prefer everything to flow wirelessly, so I would certainly recommend a NAS drive. But if you're looking for a budget-friendly solution, these $10 you're gonna pay for the OTG cable are well worth it. Now, let me show you about the installation and some more use cases. We begin by finding the HDMI port on the TV and connect. Plug the power. Done. The unit consumes ridiculously small amount of power, which will rarely exceed a few watts, so it is extremely power efficient. The setup procedure is super easy, just link the remote and follow the instructions. In case you are an Android user already, there's the option to use the Google app for the first time setup and get everything copied automatically from your existing account. Google TV is similar to the Android operating system running on your smartphones, but it has a lot different launcher, specially designed for consuming content on TVs. I'm happy to say that Mecool KD5 has zero bloatware. This is perhaps the purest Google TV distribution I've ever seen. To expand the functionality, it's up to you. There are thousands of useful apps in Google Play Store, games, productivity tools, browsers, players, and so on. If you wonder whether Kodi is supported, it is, and it's a huge multimedia platform by itself. I have of course immediately added the streaming services that I use, like YouTube Kids, HBO Max, and so on. Netflix and Amazon Prime Video are already pre-installed. Both run fine in the maximum possible resolution supported by the stick, which is 1080p. If you wonder whether online TV is supported, of course the local service called Eon runs flawlessly. An experience that I get is comparable to the much more expensive NVIDIA Shield TV that I use at home. Let's carry on with some real-life examples. YouTube Playback. Zero skipped frames, a lot of joy watching these videos at Full HD resolution. VP9 and AV1 codecs both are supported, which happen to be used by Google and some other streaming services. Netflix? Yeah, all good there. It is my first Mecool device where I have zero remarks about the implementation of Netflix. By the way, there are 4 dedicated buttons on the remote, which can call some of the most often used services: YouTube, Netflix, Prime Video, and Google Play. This is really helpful sometimes. What I also like is the fact that there's a dedicated settings button so that I can go and adjust the settings at any point of time. Inside the settings menu, by the way, you can tune the resolution, the language, the keyboard. Feel free to browse around on your device and discover all of these features. Maybe I should showcase 2 of the remaining top features. Google Assistant. Yes, inbuilt. There's a dedicated button. Just say what you want Google to do for you close to the remote and it's gonna take care of it. Play Uncle Roger videos.
Sure, playing Uncle Roger on YouTube.
The other awesome implementation, like most Google TV distributions, there is Chromecast inbuilt. Simple example, if you have guests at home and want to quickly cast that awesome photo from the phone on the big screen of the TV, just use the function and it appears right away. You can stream content of different apps in a similar way to the player or make good use of streaming services like Spotify, TuneIn, and many others. Playback of video and audio files is also possible. You can store such on the available around 4 GB of local storage or play from the network, a NAS server for example. Some files which are with high bitrate will look choppy if network playback is involved, but most are gonna run fine. Wi-Fi speeds are by the way good. Surprisingly, the Wi-Fi module inside reached the maximum speed that my ISP reserves for me. Apparently, this doesn't automatically convert into the same writing speed, as a 3 GB video file gets copied for more than 10 minutes over the network. Games are also an option, but you may need a Bluetooth joystick and also to pick not too intensive games. The amount in Google Play Store for Google TV is anyway limited, but there still are some fun-to-play games that you may find. Beach buggy racing is naturally an easy choice. Some first-person shooters are also to be found, with the most interesting titles being about killing zombies at this point. As for drawbacks, the Mecool KD5 requires a proprietary OTG cable, has limited amount of RAM, doesn't support higher than 1080p resolution, has no remote key backlight, and lacks Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision certifications from the fancy codecs. But, unlike the 1080p edition of the Mi TV Stick, this buddy here almost never has gone into throttling. And throttling, this is the situation where the CPU gets too hot, and the maximum frequency goes down in order the whole thing to cool down and to perform once again up to these specifications. It almost never happened with this body, which makes it pretty good for gaming and other CPU intensive tasks, but I have to underline 1 gig of RAM and not so capable CPU and just cropped at 1080p. It's a bit limiting. If you want to go and use a 4K TV stick, you can check the KD5, which I'm going to link in the video description as well. So that's everything about this body, and I think it's easy to recommend, although a bit more expensive than the competition, and since probably the price is going to be the decisive factor, head over to the video description and find a discount code about it. Thank you very much for watching this episode. In case of questions, I'll be sticking around in the comment section, so don't be shy, ask whatever you want to know, and I really look forward to seeing you in our next episode. My name is Michael, wishes for a fantastic day. See you soon. Bye.